Hi, a big warm welcome to you. It's great to have you here. So I'm really excited for you to be on this journey and to share it with you. Did you receive my welcome email? It might have been the first email you've got from me. So do check your junk box and it will have come from sarah@sarahcressel.com. And in there is your amazing playbook to help you go through this course. I also asked you a question and I don't know if you've had a chance to get back to me yet. So do check that out as well. Because I really want to give you the most value I can and support. So I want to provide you a full overview of all of the steps in the Create method. I've got 3 videos that cover the 6 steps broken down into 2 steps each. So we're going to cover clarity, review, explore, assess, take action, evaluate and enjoy. So in this video, we're going to cover the first 2 letters of the method. I'll give you time to work through the whole program one stage at a time. So we're going to start off with clarity and review. So starting with clarity, I think this is one of the hardest questions we will ever ask ourselves. What do I actually want? And if you're not sure, that's absolutely okay. You're in the right place. Because what you want doesn't actually have to be a grand vision or a lifelong dream. It doesn't have to impress anybody else either. It can absolutely be something that changes over time. And although we are looking at how we're going to change career in 6 steps, I think the question is much bigger than your job or your role or even maybe the business you want to do. We can jump ship from one job to another just to get out of the job. And often we have to do that because we've got to bring in money to pay bills, etc. We have to bring in the money to live. But what can happen is we can go out the frying pan in one role and straight into the fire into something else, something worse. So all we're doing is kind of moving the problem. And sometimes the job can start out quite good, but it starts to spiral downward as it really doesn't work for us. I don't know if any of those scenarios ring a bell with you, but I certainly know myself, I've jumped from one thing to another. Because it's really hard to have the luxury of time to think about what it is that we really want. So that's why I strongly suggest that this question goes beyond the type of job that you want. It covers things like what motivates you, what lights you up, and what do you need? What matters to you now as well? I remember asking myself this question in 2002. You see, my husband Duncan worked away a lot, so I needed loads of flexibility around our 3 boys, who at the time were under the age of 4. In fact, this used to be their playroom. It's now my office. It's now my playroom. I wanted to spend as much time with them as I could, but I also needed to bring in an income as well. And at this stage in my life, I was already running creative workshops with adults with different abilities, and I was head of photography and art for a college. But at the time, I was going to loads of preschool classes with my boys, and I was in a wheelchair because I had some hip problems. But thankfully, I could get out and I could shuffle a bit. But I went to tons of these classes because I couldn't really get on the floor and do loads of things with my kids myself. But it wasn't until a friend said to me, there's loads of gym and there's loads of music, but there's nothing creative for children. That's when I had part of my aha moment. Bringing threads of my work career before, that's where the creation station really came together and everything clicked into place for me. In Zimbabwe, after role helping women set up their own creative businesses. At the time, I was like, oh my God, I would love to do that. And it was a turning point for me and quite possibly the spark that led to everything else. Because I changed my career, I did lots of things. But it's funny how things work out, isn't it? The opportunity I ended up creating for myself wasn't a job. It might sound odd to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. For me, it was a mission. It was my mission. I wanted to support others to run their own creative business. I wanted to nurture creativity and I wanted the flexibility as well for my family. So all of these threads of my life started weaving together And things started to feel really connected and make sense, even though at the time I couldn't always see it. Often the case, isn't it? And you may have noticed this yourself, that the perfect role often comes after you knew what you were looking for. That's why we start with clarity. Because when you know what you're looking for, you're so much more likely to see opportunities that align with this. It's weird. In fact, there's a name for this phenomenon. It's called the reticular activating system, RAS for short. Like if you buy a red car and you'll see loads of red cars. Another example happened to me last week actually. I've been thinking about getting a virtual assistant, a VA, for some time because I've got a few projects and I really felt a VA could help me finish these projects because I'm staying up late, I'm spending a lot of time on it, and I really wanted a bit of extra help with it. So I asked myself, would it be helpful to get a VA? Kind of gave myself a deadline. And weirdly, I recognised it was a yes, but weirdly, literally the next day, I saw something on Instagram. I clicked on it and it looked ideal. I assessed the options. I booked in a call with them. And before I knew it, I have booked a VA, which I'm really pleased about. But I wouldn't have done that if I didn't know what I was looking for. And that clarity helped me also say no to some other things. So saying yes also means saying no to other stuff. Does that make sense? Knowing what the question is without doubt the hardest part. Because then when you know it, you can start to commit. And the steps in the... So now let's have a look at what really lights you up. This is the fun bit, but it can also be challenging. So if you don't mind, can you bear with me? So I'd like you to grab a pen and a paper or something like that and try this with me. It's called your 5-year line. So there is a section in your playbook, but again, you can just use a piece of paper. So you can do it this way actually, landscape wise. If you draw a line across, you don't need to be a brilliant artist to do that. On the right, so we're going to put this year in the middle. And on the left, we're going to go 5 years. 5 years ago. 5 years ago. So that would be 2020. And then that doesn't seem that long ago. We're in 2025 now. 2020 doesn't seem that long ago. So then we're going to fast forward to oh my God, no, not 2025, 2030. That seems a long way in the future. But actually, we're halfway there now. So what I'd like you to do is just take a moment to think about what you would love in the next 5 years of your life. Because actually we create a shopping list to go to the supermarket, don't we? We don't ever create a list for our life. People talk about bucket lists, but they're things like, oh, if only. But actually, we can create a list for our life. And at least it gives us some clarity on what we would like in it, rather than just going with whatever turns up. So the things that you would like in your life here. Bullet points, take some time, whatever you think you would like in it. And if you're not sure, don't worry, because it's quite hard to know what we want, isn't it? If you're not sure, think about what you haven't enjoyed in the last 5 years, because that can give you a sign of what you don't want anymore. You know, having something also means not having something else. So write down the things that you haven't enjoyed or that you did enjoy and you'd like more of. And then you can you can draw a heart if you want, but it might be better to do some bullet points or do drawings or whatever works for you to help you identify what it is you would like in your life in the next 5 years. That's a really interesting thing to do with your partner or even to do with your kids. So once you've got your list, don't worry about how that could happen. It's just quite nice to observe and see what you would love. And as I've mentioned, it doesn't have to be neat. It can be all colourful. It can be scribbled. You might add to it. You might think about it over a period of time. But as I said, think about what you didn't like, maybe what made you sad, and what things light you up. You might include things like, I'd like to feel more confident in my decisions. Maybe work that makes a difference to others. You might want more time for your family. You might want to do more travels to places that inspires you. You might want more control over your income, being able to earn more money when you want to. Maybe have more outdoor time, time to meet friends, might want to make new friends. This exercise isn't about making a fixed plan. This is about listening to your inner compass, which no one else can do it for you. Because I believe when we get clear on what truly matters to us, we start to get an idea of the direction we want to head to, which helps us make decisions, which is why I call it a compass. Because if you are going this way, you are not going that way. So here's your first playtime reflection on clarity. Open your playbook and I invite you to complete your 5-year line. You don't have to finish it all in one sitting. You can let it unfold and come back to it. If you want to, you can pause the course now, or we can go straight into R for review, which is the next step in the CREATE method. And R is all about where are you? Because I believe before we can figure out where we're going, it helps to work out, where am I now? When I first started thinking about changing direction myself, I realised something really simple but incredibly powerful. I was exhausted and I couldn't remember the last time I'd felt energised. This was in my 20s. I didn't have the time or energy to do the work that you're doing now. So huge well done to you for making the time to invest in you. Is there a time when you've not felt in control and had no energy? I found I was really grumpy and generally not motivated to do anything really. I didn't do any exercise, lots of comfort eating, lots of Chardonnay. I was like on a downward spiral. This was when I was a catering manager in London. And although I was apparently really good at my job, it just didn't light me up. I remember one day my boss said to me, "Sarah, you too could be a regional manager." And I was like, oh my God, I could. And if I don't get off this path, I'm going to end up doing that. And during this time, to be honest, I didn't feel like me anymore. It used to be okay. I used to enjoy it, but I felt I'd moved on and I'd started to want to be more me, which was, as I've mentioned, for me, it was like creativity and making a difference to others. But I want to ask you, what is working in your life right now and what's not? You don't have to fix anything. You can just notice. And it's okay to have those thoughts. So here's your second playtime reflection. And this one is on review. So in your playbook, there's a simple circle reflection tool. So draw 2 circles. In one, jot down everything that gives you energy. The people, the work, the places, the hobbies, times of day, food, movement, whatever it might be. And in the other, write down what drains you, what leaves you feeling flat, irritated or low. And this isn't about guilt. It's not about people, anyone else either. It's just about an awareness and observing how you respond. Because the more we understand where we are, the easier it is to shift to the other circle, which is what feels better. And if you do want to go a little deeper, you can try the Passion Finder activity in the playbook. It's a beautiful way to reconnect with what actually gives you joy. And it's easy for us to forget sometimes that it's good to light ourselves up. So in summary, we've been looking at working on clarity for what you'd love in the next 5 years with the 5-year line activity. We've also looked at reflecting where we are now in the circle reflection. I love the sound of the circle reflection. It sounds something like from a Disney movie, doesn't it? So you don't have to finish this in one sitting. I often find if I leave a question sitting in my head for a bit, things pop up when I don't expect it to. So maybe if there's a question that you're struggling with, just let it hang around your head for a bit and then come back to it. This is the beginning of helping you uncover what you want more of in your life right now. And even if you can't achieve it now, at some point soon. And looking at what you'd like to let go of. You don't have to solve everything today. Just pay attention. It's amazing what starts to change once you do. In the next video, We'll open up space to explore and assess. We'll delve into your dreams, your ideas, what's possible when you stop holding back. And just a reminder, in case you have forgotten, you are doing wonderfully. Keep being your awesome self. And I can't wait to see you on the next video. Big hugs. Bye.